Alright, so I got the truck up on my ramps, parking brakes on, and I've got the stuff ready. Originally, I was going to do a flush, but I think I'm going to save that for the next time I do this and just do a pan and filter change and drop the pan, obviously clear out what's in there. But I've only got about 7.5, maybe just under 8 quarts of fluid. This jug only has about 1.5 quarts, 2 quarts of fluid in it. So I've got just about everything ready. But I also forgot to mention, there's about 300-400 miles since I put in that Seafoam trans tune. And I pulled a transmission fluid sample yesterday. I pulled 8 ounces out. And it looks like it's cleared up a lot of varnish because that fluid was pretty black. So I'm just gonna use my best judgment and change it right now. At least try and get what out I can. All these bolts are 10mm, and what I think I'm gonna do is pull out all the back ones first, or all these forward ones first, and kind of let it hang down like this, simply because that exhaust is gonna be in the way. Alright, now's the fun part. On the V6, it's a little bit easier because the exhaust is not impacting the pan, so hopefully, if we're very careful, we can just angle this in such a way we can do that and this. So pan, but we'll get the pan ready for reinstallation. There are a couple things we have to do with that. Now, because we're going to measure all of the fluid that came out to judge how much we're going to put back in, I've got my pan here. Now this gasket is reusable. They design it as such, but I bought another one to use, so I'm just going to put the new one on. But dump the rest of the fluid that's in the pan. Really not much. So the inside of the pan, you have a magnet here, which this is going to pick up all of the magnetic material from the inside of the transmission and its inner workings. So you want to clean this magnet off. That's very important. In order to do that, I just wipe it off with a rag. Clean out the inside of the pan. There's the new gasket with the GM part number. So all we have left now is to change the filter out. But that's all you need to do for the new gasket. I do know that in the past when I've done filter removals is sometimes there will be a little bit of fluid left over. So we'll just see what we can do here. And surprisingly, there isn't any, except in the filter itself. That's okay, we'll just let that drain out. And all I'm gonna do right now is just clean the mating surface for the pan. And it is actually really clean. There's not really much debris on here to be spoken of. Tad bit of dirt, but the oil on the rag actually is doing a very decent job of wiping all that up. So looking up inside, you can see right in here, there's a, maybe the camera can't see it all that well, but there's that black rubber gasket seal that goes there. That didn't come out with the filter, and they are difficult to get in and out of there, so I'm just going to leave it there. It's okay to reuse it. So now we're just going to grab the new filter. Just like that. So let's get the pan, sink some bolts in through it. Just start the threads anyways, and then just make sure that both of these little nubs on the gasket are going through the alignment holes. That is very important. It's also important to get it aligned properly on the transmission itself. So I can see the one here at the front. Now the trick to these is to start a few of them, but don't sink them all the way down yet, because you want to just make sure that all of the bolts are in and you're not going to cross thread them. I'm going to grab my torque wrench, check what the actual torque is, and we're going to torque these all down, crisscross again, and we'll be good to go and put fluid back into it. All right, so just going to do the transmission pan torque, 80 inch-pounds, and you can see I'm still getting rotation on them. And we're good. So let me do some tool cleanup. I'm gonna wipe down the underside of this. All right, so now we're gonna measure how much of the old fluid we took out. And for this, I just use a simple bucket, which has the amount of quarts and gallons inside it. So it looks like we took out right about 6 quarts. So that's how much we're going to put back in. Now periodically I am going to be checking the pan just to make sure nothing's leaking, but 1 quart at a time. So I always like to let the funnel drain all the residual back into the transmission. So I'm just gonna let it sit for a little bit, then we'll start the truck up and get it off the ramps. Funnel's out, dipstick's back in, start it up and get it off the ramps. Parking brake. All right. There we go. Drive's working. Reverse obviously works. So I'm just gonna let it warm up, cycle the fluid around, then we'll road test it and see how it feels now. All right, so let's do a road test. And when I'm back on level ground after we're all warmed up, check the fluid level too.